Hey, hi, howdy, and hello. This is my unboxing video of the Godzilla Store 2024 limited edition 5-figure Dream Box set. That is a mouthful, but that is the name of this product. Now, I was extremely excited to get my hands on this for really only two reasons, and that is Kamacuras and Gabara. That is the only reason that I actually purchased this box set, as crazy as that sounds. Yes, it was confirmed that they would be releasing these figures separately or individually. I didn't care. I wanted Gabara and I wanted Kamacuras. I wanted them now. I didn't want to wait. And if I'm being honest, the box looked pretty cool, so that's why I picked this up. Taking a good look at it now, I love this art. Honestly, it is fantastic. It's cool seeing these lesser-known monsters as well as Mechagodzilla, Ghidorah, and Anguirus, for some reason, all getting figures in this one box set. Now, I believe the case for this is that Godzilla fans voted on which figures they specifically wanted movie monster series figures made of them, and so these were the 5 winners, and this is what ended up getting made as action figures. Now, I've always wanted Gabara and Kamacuras as figures. I've also always wanted Kamanga, and Kamanga is really like the big one that I'm still sort of missing right now, so I'm hoping that they make one of Kamanga pretty soon. So here we can see the actual side of the box where you could see this beautiful Dream 5 logo. And I really hope that they do more of these, if I'm being honest. I am a bit critical of this box set, and I will get into why and the specifics of it. But in concept, I like it a lot. In presentation, this is also pretty slick, I gotta say. Now, each figure here was packaged inside of the box in a really interesting way. They were all sort of divided up in this, really, I think it's actually kind of smart the way that they did it, where they were all sort of like taped in so that they couldn't really be damaged while being shipped, and I thought that was kind of clever. Now, they are wrapped up individually, and I think this might actually be disappointing to some Godzilla fans, I don't know. There are no tags on these figures. That, I believe, might be a deal breaker for a lot of people. For myself, not so much. I always take the tags off the figures, which I know, that's sacrilege for Godzilla collectors, but for me, I've just always hated how the tags look. I don't like how they just kind of hang on to the monster. It just kills it when you're trying to display them on a shelf. So I've always just done away with the tag. I do try to save a lot of them, but at the end of the day, it's not really the main thing that I'm trying to sort of collect. And here we have Gabara unboxed, and yeah, I love it. This is everything that I wanted Gabara to be. I'm super happy with how this figure looks. It really embodies the monster, and I'll talk a bit more about each figure individually as we sort of go on. Here we have Mechagodzilla, which I was a bit disappointed by. I mean, I already have a few Mechagodzilla figures like this, but yeah, again, we'll get into it, but the articulation here is nothing to write home about, and it also isn't really all that detailed. Now, Kamacuras was pretty cool. The articulation was very impressive, especially compared to the rest. I feel like they put all their effort into Kamacuras and just kind of quickly put the rest together. But overall, that's a decent figure. Anguirus looks really good. Probably my favorite figure of the set next to Kamacuras. Those two are just incredible. And here we have what might be my least favorite of the box set. It took me a bit to get it out of the box, but that would be King Ghidorah. I was very let down by this. We'll get into why. Right now, I'm just sort of unboxing this, giving my thoughts on everything, but as of right now, this is the box set, and I gotta be honest here, I don't think it was worth the $160 that I paid for this. Yes, this had a price tag of $160. Now, there are probably going to be people that will defend that price tag and will rip on me for complaining about the price tag since, I bought it knowing full well what the price is, which, yes, I understand. However, I kind of do this professionally, if that makes sense. Unboxings aren't really my main forte on this channel. But still, I think that, even if I do make my money back on this, which isn't really important in the grand scheme of things, there are people out there that will be buying this that don't really do what I do and won't have the opportunity to make their money back by reviewing these figures. As a result, I don't know if I can say whether or not it's worth the price tag. Now, there are probably going to be people that say, hey, it's $160, That actually makes sense when you divvy up the cost of each figure, and it roughly comes out to about $30, $32 for each figure. I personally wouldn't pay that much for this figure. Yes, it's Gabara, and technically, you know, you could use that logic and say, well, you did say at the start of the video you bought this box set for Gabara and Kamacuras only, so you basically paid, you know, $80 per figure. But I don't think that this figure is worth that much. I think it should be, at best, maybe a $15 figure. Gabara, as I mentioned before, looks great. The sculpt is fantastic. Now, I do have an issue with the articulation. Yes, the arms do move, which is pretty cool, I gotta say. I like that a lot. Yeah, nothing else moves. So you basically have a statue here. I really don't like that. The paint job is great. Again, it looks nice, but I wish it had more articulation. That is the most disappointing part. Kamacuras here looks pretty solid. The paint job is incredible. The sculpt is fantastic. The articulation is surprisingly good as well. All around, very impressed. I thought Kamacuras would be very basic. It would just be almost like a statue where there'd be very limited mobility or articulation, and all you could really do with it is just sort of like prop it up. But that's actually not the case. I'm pleasantly surprised, and like I mentioned too, the paint job is fantastic. They could have easily just painted this thing like 2 colors and that's it. Instead, they went the whole 9 yards. There's some wonderful white accents on like the hooks. I think they're called hooks, I don't know. And I dig that a lot, honestly. I think that's fantastic. The best part though are the eyes, which have a wonderful texture to them. It feels kind of like a golf ball almost. I really love it. It feels like the perfect figure for Kamacuras, which is kind of bizarre because Kamacuras is not like the greatest Godzilla monster of all time. So the fact they put this much effort into a monster like Kamacuras is just so cool. I really appreciate that. Now we've got Anguirus, and wow, do I love this figure. Now, I don't actually own a Showa-era Anguirus figure besides the 1955 Raids Again figure that I have that's black and white. I bought that one at G-Fest. But this one looks really solid. I love the pose. Now, the articulation is pretty much non-existent on this guy, but on the shelf, it looks decent. And honestly, that's all I really use it for. If, you know, anyone's going to complain about articulation, it really shouldn't be me since I don't play with these figures. I mainly just have them propped up on a shelf. But regardless, I know that there are people that watch my channel that very much do care about articulation, so I figure I will talk about it, as that is the one thing that these figures are all very much lacking. Paint job, the sculpting, all fantastic. I tried to move the head, it just wouldn't work. But overall, you get some front feet articulation, and that's about it. And the back legs also move, but otherwise, pretty cool. Next, we've got Mechagodzilla, which, oh boy, this one's rough. Now, the thing is I have several Mechagodzilla figures already. Most are Showa-era figures, so I'm kind of like picking from all the rest that I already own, but this is the weakest one by far. The sculpt is fine, it's not really that detailed. The paint job is just kind of basic. Yes, it is gray with some darker gray kind of like, you know, contrast and whatnot, but the articulation's terrible. You really can't pose this guy. All that you can really move are just the arms. The legs don't move, the head doesn't move, which is shocking to me because I feel like every Showa-era Mechagodzilla figure should have a head that can rotate because he does that in the movie. Overall, it's just kind of lackluster, which I wasn't really buying this box set for this figure, but when you pay $160 for a Kaiju box set, you kind of want all of the Kaiju to look their best, and that should be what we expect from Bandai and from Toho. Not a great figure by any means. I was very, very, very disappointed by this. Last but not least, we have King Ghidorah. This is, again, the Showa-era version, I believe 1964. So like Ghidorah, the three-headed monster era Ghidorah. And I really, really, really don't like this sculpt. I don't like how the heads are sort of like raised up, like how each one's sort of like raised up. You can really only have it posed one specific way, and that's really from its left-hand side. And, you know, the sculpting is solid, but I just really wish that the heads were farther apart, and they weren't so close together. They're basically touching each other, and I really don't like that. Not to mention, too, the articulation on this thing is really bad. The only things that move are the legs, and that is it. Nothing else moves, and to me that's very disappointing because I feel like a good King Ghidorah figure should have articulation of the wings, of the tails, and a great one should have articulation of the heads. So the fact that, again, you're basically just getting a statue here is very, very disappointing. And so that is the Dream box set for 2024. It comes with 5 different figures, and I gotta say, I am very disappointed. Very disappointed. I almost feel like I was ripped off. I don't want to do the typical, this is a scam, because at the end of the day, it really isn't a scam. Yes, I knew full well that I was buying 5 figures for the price of $160. You're basically getting like $32, $35 per figure, which is the going rate for Movie Monster series figures, unfortunately. Like, that is just how it is nowadays. I remember back in the day, which I sound like an old man saying this, when it was like $15 a figure, when it was half that price. And so the box is cool, Gabara is great, Kamacuras is great, Anguirus is great, but the other 2 figures just kind of drag it down for me. It's to the point where I almost feel like I regret buying this. I really do. Now, if you've purchased this and you have your own thoughts on it, let me know down below in the comments, because I am genuinely curious to see what you have to think. You can also make fun of me for buying a $160 box set, because trust me, if I saw this video, I would probably do the exact same thing. Regardless, I don't really do many unboxing videos, so if you stumbled upon this and haven't seen the channel yet, and this is all you really want from me, do not subscribe. I've done maybe 2 or 3 of these in the past. I really only want to do like videos talking about the movies, so if you like Godzilla movies, this might be the channel for you. But otherwise, being completely blunt with you, don't subscribe if you're looking for toy reviews. I really don't do that. Anyways, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I am Cole McCormick. You're watching Firewood Media, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.